super slow but super emotional as the thing that anchors you in the chaos. I mean, you have like crazy violin lines, crazy everything happening, and just this one single note melody holding you in place. Sometimes there's one thing or one song or one person that can help you stay on the earth.
Adrienne and Jack, thank you so much for your time. You both seem extremely calm and relaxed and well rested after a crazy couple of weeks. How are you guys doing?
Really good. Good to see you again. Good to be here. I washed my hair. Everything's fine.
I washed my hair too.
Wow.
It's a good day. The bare minimum.
Exactly.
Yeah, doing good here too.
Awesome.
I'm in my hermit's hideaway, and I've had 2 nights of really, really good sleep, which I can't even remember the last time I had 2 nights of really good sleep in a row. My skin is like, thank you for sleeping and drinking water. I'm in Norway right now, actually, and I've just realized how delicious the drinking water is. So everything's great.
Everything is wonderful. There you go.
Yes.
There you go. Fantastic. And it is, I mean, in a way, it's funny because we're at this moment where this whole album for me kind of feels like the capstone, if you will, or the climax of a very crazy year and a half. But at the same time, it's also that moment when you're in a roller coaster at an amusement park where you're like checking up and you're about to go, oh shit, for a very long time. We're kind of at that moment because, you know, the new album is coming fast. All of a sudden, it's almost June, which went like crazy.
Super crazy.
Does it feel like that a little bit? Like, are you appreciating those 2 days more specifically, those 2 nights more specifically, Adrienne, because you know that the oh shit moment is coming and it's going to last for a long time?
Oh, very much so. I've been going oh shit for the last 7 months, and I have maybe like 1.5 weeks of standing at the top of the roller coaster, and then it's all downhill from here. So. No, I think it's going to be a lot of it's going to be a lot of oh shit, but hopefully a lot of forward momentum for us as well, and that I really look forward to.
Yeah. So let's go into this. I mean, there's a lot to unpack. I mean, quite literally in this album, but just with you guys in general, and we'll see what we have time for in the short interview, and I'm sure that you know, as you guys start playing more, I hope to have more chance to dive more deeper with you guys. But for right now, let's go into this album. This, you know, after a bit of an intro, we get, and obviously I had a chance to listen to the full album already, but when we get Songs Upon Wine-Stained Tongues, it really feels like a statement because it's kind of like you kind of bring together every element that we've seen of Seven Spires in the last few years together in one song. And it's almost like, yeah, people that really like the aggressive part, don't worry, it's still there. People that like the calmer stuff, it's here, the harmonies, the melodies. If the things that we played the last few years that you didn't like, too bad, it's absolutely here. Like in one song, it kind of brings everything together. Was that a bit of a conscious decision to make the album opener like a bit of a statement of, hey, this is everything we stand for?
I don't know that it was a conscious decision, but it's definitely fitting in a way.
Right.
And it's interesting to me also, like when we started dropping singles and we read YouTube comments and stuff, and I noticed like people saying, oh, I heard that they're not going to do screaming much anymore and they're going to do this, and then the next one comes out and I heard they're not going to do the clean singing anymore, or they're only going to go this way, and it's like, clearly you haven't figured it out yet. We kind of do everything all the time, and that's what makes it fun for us. So yeah, it's maybe like every song kind of needs to be what it needs to be, and that one needed to be everything.
Yeah,
there's also like just, you know, because what you say right now, Jack, is also interesting because this is an extremely varied album, and sure, there are songs that maybe lean to one side a little bit more, but as I was listening to the whole album, I kind of felt that where some other bands, not naming anything specific, but where bands that have a varied album, they'll have like, here's our rock song, and here's our melodic death metal song, and here's the ballad. But with most of these songs, your variety happens within the songs, and you don't kind of stay to like. Sure, there are songs that maybe start out feeling like it's a ballad, but all of a sudden, oh shit, this changes. Was that, you said that this came natural to the first song, but as you guys were writing this material over time and starting to really work on this album, the idea that the one rule that there are no rules had to be enforced, is that something that you do bring in very, consciously into that process? Like if Adrienne would come with like, hey, I've got this one cute little, acoustic ballad, and it's just that, is that okay? Or do we want to make sure that everything, keeps twists and turns and stays surprising, if you will?
I really think that I have like a lot of ideas, and maybe they're not all like within the same realm, but Jack really encourages like, yeah, don't worry about fitting it into something. Just let it be what it wants to be, and that is going to be the best version. So I don't think we like do it for the sake of it needs to be varied, but it's always just about like, as you said with Weinstein Tongues, like letting it be exactly what it needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the rule that is enforced. We don't make it be something that it doesn't want to be.
Right.
And I think to very specifically answer your question, if there's like one acoustic ballad or there's one like only insane, super fast death metal song or something, if that's the best version of that and it gets the emotional idea of the lyric across correctly, then that is how it will stay. Like it's totally okay. It just has to serve what we want to present feelings wise to the listener and to ourselves.
The starting moment of the second song, and again, I don't want to give too many spoilers here for people that at this point will not have listened to the full album. It kind of gave me a bit of that, here's a Kamelot-y vibe, and so I'm just going to use that as a very forced segue here. But you guys just did some dates with Kamelot. I know that you were very busy in Europe. You've played now some shows with Kamelot. How did those shows go? I mean, we saw obviously the mandatory end of show picture with the audience, but how did it go?
It was really awesome. It's basically, I mean, for me at least, is super much like a dream come true. Because at least also Adrienne introduced me to this band like when we met, so it was a very formative band in my like metal guitar player journey. I think this was right after like Silverthorn came out and they had the transition from Roy to Tommy, and it was just super cool. It was cool for me to see a band that I looked up to so much and meet them and realize that they're also just people. Like Thomas Youngblood's a big hockey fan, so we bonded over hockey teams and hockey games and stuff like that. And it was just really
I'm in Toronto. Please don't bring up hockey right now after the Leafs.
And speaking of Toronto, our drummer that we've had with us for the last couple of tours is also from Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
And so after the show in Boston, we were in a bar watching that game. And he's like yelling at the TV, eating. So yeah, anyway, it was super fun, super cool to do it, even though it was just for 4 shows here in North America, kind of in our home turf.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely great. And then I got to watch a Kamelot show every night.
There you go. How different were those shows from your European tour? Because when I last saw you guys, which was at Matt with Power, and you got the headline and you got to, you guys were making jokes on stage that you all of a sudden have much more time to play and that you can include songs that usually don't get played. I remember asking you in that interview that, you got such varied material, whether or not you would cater to your audience. Like, the shows that you played in Europe may have been for a bit of a rougher crowd than for the traditional Kamelot crowd in the United States. Did you guys change that set to fit it more to the audience, or are you more like, no, we're ourselves, and no matter who you are, you're going to listen to what we have to offer?
I mean, we did play This God Is Dead when we played with Kamelot. I think that's just something you have to do. But yeah, in terms of tailoring our set, I think it can be compared to like if you have a wardrobe that's full of all your favorite clothes, and you know you're going to go to an upscale cocktail bar. You can put anything on that would suit that place, and you're still gonna be yourself, feel like yourself, feel good.
The outfit can change, but it still came out of your closet.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Awesome.
Yeah.
I think with the time thing in mind, the less time we have, the more likely we are to cater to the crowd a little bit, because we know it's gonna feel really short anyway. So it's kind of like get in, get out, have fun, change things up, do it. Whereas if we have a longer time, we get to mess with people a little bit and go from A to Z and everywhere in between and still make it fun.
Yeah. I mean, now we're talking about live shows and the crowd and whatnot, and you said earlier about rules that you guys have. I think if I remember correctly, Adrienne, you told me at Matt with Power that you kind of as a band have one rule that there's no room for assholes either in the band or with the crowd as well. And I was wondering songs and lyrics can be interpreted in a million different ways, and definitely the songs on this album, but does some of that mantra flow into No Place for Us, one of the songs on the album?
Not exactly. No Place for Us is more about self-acceptance and accepting the people that you love close to you, and not so much about No Time for Assholes.
We said that this is a varied album and that there's songs that kind of go on their own little roller coaster. And I think one of the best examples of that, which is for me, I think I have to listen to it more, but so far I think it's my favorite song on the album, which is Love's Souvenir.
I knew it. I knew it.
There's a lot of twists and turns, and again, I don't want to spoil too much for the people that haven't heard this song yet. But it really takes us on a journey. And there's one very particular thing that I really like about it, which is something that many bands have tried and it doesn't always work well. I think it's a hard thing to do, but when it's done well, it's done so well. And that is playing an emotional guitar solo over blast beat extreme drums, which you guys do to perfection on this song. And it just creates such an emotion. Even regardless of the lyrics, I feel like people that have never spoken a word of English in their lives will have a very emotional reaction to this song. Can you guys dig a little deeper in this song and everything that's behind it?
I could start maybe, and then Jack, maybe you pick up where I'm too scared to continue.
Sounds good.
I'm bracing myself now.
All right. Love Souvenir came from a very, very bad day. I mean, it's not a secret. I talk about it pretty openly that I have quite some mental health struggles, and depression is among those, and generalized anxiety and other stuff. But Love Souvenir came from a day where I just thought a lot of bad stuff. But the beginning of it sort of reflects that. I think this softer, jazzier, very minor approach. I was also listening to a lot of newer Leprous at the time, so there's some of that vibe there. And then I think when you're in that depressive state, I mean, you're sort of frozen emotionally too, because it's like a defense mechanism that your brain or your body creates because you're so overwhelmed with such internal agony. I sound very dramatic, but just bear with. And I think when you finally open up the gates and allow yourself to feel things again, which is a good thing, when you start coming back up out of that dark place, deep dark hole, you have to go through all of the bad things that are hurting. And I think that's sort of reflected in the arrangement. It's a very dense arrangement, a lot of blast beats, a lot of layers, and a fuck ton of vocal layers. And I think to have the guitar solo, super slow but super emotional, as a thing that anchors you in the chaos. I mean, you have crazy violin lines, crazy everything happening. and just this one single note melody holding you in place. Sometimes there's one thing or one song or one person that can help you stay on the earth. Mm-hmm. And that's what I have to say about Love Souvenir.
So I have a specific follow-up question for both of you here. First of all, Adrienne, thank you so much for sharing. And I know that you are, generally speaking, very open about all these things, which cannot be easy. So I want to ask you a question first, and I want to ask Jack a question about this. I really like this song, and I think a lot of people are going to like this song, which means that a lot of people are going to want to hear you play that song a lot of times.
Oh, no.
Exactly. So how is that for you? And I've asked this question to quite a few vocalists over times who are also behind the lyrics. When a song is so personal and dealing with these darker pages, if you will, playing a song like that over and over, what is that like for you? Is that always, it makes it a little better every single time, or does it every time brings you back to that negativity, and it's a horrible thing to overcome? Like where does that, how is that for you? What's that experience like?
Well, sometimes, good question, and I think this can affect some musicians really, really poorly. Sometimes I begin to resent a song because it brings me back to a place that I don't want to be. I'm like, I just got out of this. Like, please don't make me suffer this again. But at other times, if I'm already in the deep dark hole again, having a song like that to just scream my fucking guts out, it can be very cleansing. And sometimes this can lead to a kind of special performance, a bit more visceral than I would normally give. And to be honest, I mean, all of our songs basically are very personal, and there's a lot of them with a lot of pain. And I'm not in pain when we're singing the old stuff. So at some point, the exposure to it will have just made me okay. Yeah.
Some level of catharsis, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Jack, knowing that of a band member and being one of the vessels, if you will, to help Adrienne on that journey and playing that song, is there do you feel that pressure, or maybe even a sort of responsibility when you play that song, knowing that it is such a primal, important song for Adrienne? You're are you telling yourself okay, better not fuck this one up? What's that like for you, knowing that you are channeling these deep emotions of a band member?
Yeah, well, I mean, firstly, I'll say it's not just on her behalf. Also, I'm involved in writing these songs too, and they mean very special things to me as well. And this guitar solo moment we talked about, that's me pouring my own version of those feelings into a song this, and trying to lift it into a more broad experience for everyone else too. And I think my philosophy, at least, and what works for me and what makes sense in a live show setting, is in the studio, it's all about digging into those feelings and getting that to come out on tape or come out of the speakers. When we get done with the album and move into playing these songs live or rehearsing them is very much a technical thing. Am I hitting the notes? Does it feel good? Can I keep the technique up when I'm throwing my hair around and jumping off the stage and lighting off fireworks and all kinds of shit? And then in the actual live show, it's less about digging into it for me and staying in it, but it's more about giving that gift of expression to the people listening and making sure that they're able to have a safe space to feel what they're going to feel with us. It becomes a mutual thing and less lonely than having to struggle through it by myself. And as it relates to Adrienne or Peter or anyone else in the band, I think hitting the notes and playing it correctly, not fucking up, is the bare minimum. And beyond that is going to be giving them the space to go through that journey on their own, and then being there to pick up anyone who falls over. It's not anything like the help isn't always accepted, and sometimes it can be detrimental. Like,
Right.
oh, you think I can't deal with my own shit? 'Cause, like it starts to feel like that in a way. So I think it's more like holding down the fort and trusting them and or her to do it on her own, because that's what she's gonna do.
You are gonna play a lot of live shows. A Japanese run has been announced as well. There's some headline. There's some festival and headline shows as well announced, which is really cool. In a way, and I don't know that you guys don't necessarily write old school concept albums and what have you, but there is always like there is a visual element to your music, even when I'm not even talking about the album or music videos. Just listening to the music creates such a wealth of images, and to the point that, and I say this with absolute respect, but it kind of this album feels like a Tormented Disney Broadway show. You know, like if you had, like, would that be like a bucket list item to do like a with your music telling a like Trans-Siberian Orchestra style or Aryan style show, where you bring this music as a headline show to life, but not just with music, but with a whole production? Is that something that you would like to go, or is it completely off, Jasper? What are you talking about? Shut the fuck up.
I think that would be incredible. I mean,
I think it would be amazing.
At the very least, one thing we've talked about for years and still really want to do when there's time and money is do shows with a live orchestra, because everything's very, very scored for, like, 60 dudes back there playing stuff. So that would be incredible. The visual element thing is something that I think would have to be done in a certain way, because I think part of the beauty of, at least for me, the way we write stuff is that there's so much that is spelled out, but there's so much that's up to interpretation, and there's so much up to self-insertion, or it's cool that there's not like an actor playing this character, or like a very specific visualization of this setting, and people can kind of put their own ideas to it. And I think that's really cool. But on the other hand, big is really cool, and video is cool, and giant, explosions and flashing lights. This is all really cool stuff. And I think maybe it would be something that we do specifically for that purpose, and or a video game, or feature film or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, I as Jack said, the choir and orchestra thing, hello, don't need the water in the screen, would be super cool. And maybe if we were able to have all of our guests that we've had across the albums just to show up and play the characters that they appear as, that would be a cool way to maybe hint at the story. And then if we did it in the right venue where we could like customize like drinks at the bar, maybe burn some kind of incense, or like change the scent of the room and really like give people an immersive experience. I don't know if like making a musical would be the right way to do it, but big is good.
Big is good, and this album is as big as they come. Like I said, a bit of a capstone event for a year and a half of intense growth of this band. And I also believe at the same time a building stone, or how do you say that? I don't know, whatever, stepping stone, I guess, for the next roller coaster ride. You're gonna go, oh shit, for a long time. It's gonna be really busy. Enjoy those last few days of sleep, if you will. I'm super excited for you guys' journey. And I know this album is going to open the door to a whole new legion of fans worldwide. Jack and Adrienne, thank you so much for your time. I wish we had more time. This is always exciting. I look forward to seeing you on a stage again soon. And I mean, the countdown is on. I can't wait for the album to be out. Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you too. This was great.
Always
Let's actually do a part 2.
Yeah, for real. Let's do a part 2.
Let's do it.
You are awesome for watching this video. Click right here to see more content like it, and subscribe to the channel.